Hey guys, it's Emma. Welcome back to my channel. So, I've been missing and I'm so sorry. Also, my dog is in the background. Say hi. But yeah, so I'm so sorry. I have just a bunch of things, personal reasons, being busy, obviously, and spring break, you know, traveling back. I had a week after where I just like could not. And I didn't have that many video ideas, but I'm back and I'll try to be, hello? I'll try to be current with my posting. I'm sure I will be. And yeah, so if you've read the title, we're going to be talking about Fate, the Winx saga, which I recently watched all of this weekend. Yeah, so that was definitely a choice. I like finished one of my Netflix series and was like, I don't have anything to watch, and if he does this the whole time. Anyway, so I didn't have anything to watch. So I was just like, okay, I'll check this out because there's definitely been a lot of controversy about it. I'm not going to be talking specifically about the controversial aspects of it, such as the whitewashing of the characters, which I'm white, so I don't really feel comfortable talking about that, but I'm going to link a bunch of videos. Sit. I'm going to link a bunch of videos down below of people who I think talked about it really well, as I just don't feel comfortable and I don't know if I can talk about it in the way that I'd like to, as it is obviously a sensitive topic, as the source material was definitely a lot more inclusive than this redo. And also the costuming, that's another thing. I'll link videos to that down below. Stop it! They're being wild. But I won't be talking about those aspects. I'm just going to be talking about it, how it functions as a TV series, with my dog walking in front of me the whole time. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to be talking about it as a TV show, not in specifics of a lot of the aspects. And I also am coming from the background of that I did not watch this show as a kid. I know. I'm so sorry. I think I was like a little bit late on the whole Winx thing, and my like parents really didn't show us many TV shows as a kid. So I'm definitely late and I'm sorry about it. Also, there's been a fan on this whole time. I'm turning it off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that was annoying. So anyway, yeah, so I'm coming from the background that I don't have very much nostalgia for this show. I understand that there was a better and definitely more diverse and better costumed source material, but I'm just going to be talking about how it functions as a as a TV show on Netflix, and just a little bit about what I thought about it, its plot, writing, etc. So yeah, if you're cool with any of that, here we go. And if you wanted to hear maybe about a bit about the more controversial aspects of that, check out some of the videos I linked down below about the whitewashing and costuming issues. So without further ado, let's get into it. They're literally acting wild. Okay, so let's just talk. There will be spoilers. Almost pretty sure. Yeah, there will be spoilers. So I'm just gonna say that now. If you want to watch it, go watch it. It's literally 6 episodes. It does not take that long. So here we go. So Bloom is our main character, and she is, like a lot of things in this show, very stereotypical. She's the chosen one. She's a kind of salty, angsty redhead. Surprise, surprise. Like, they literally make a joke about it in the show. And I'm like, guys, not this again. But it happens. It does. And then her roommates, let me see if I can remember all their names. We got Musa, Tara, Stella. Who's the other girl? That's her roommate. Jesus! Okay, I actually might have to look that up. What's her other roommate's name? Because I remember the character had a different name, like in the show, than she did in the thing. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Her roommate, the water fairy. She's cool. Love her. Her swimming scene was a bit horrifying though. Anyway, so those four, they gotta get thrown together at this magical boarding school in Althea that they go to. Bloom is the only one from the other world, California, I think. So she's the outsider. Again, we're starting again with the stereotypical tropes. But yeah, so she's definitely like the outsider, and she's sweet-based with these 4 girls, and yeah, so they're all very different. Obviously, there's like some conflict at first, whatever. And obviously throughout the course of the show, they get to like know each other and stuff, and a bunch of stuff happens. So the first couple episodes are mostly dedicated towards like the teen aspect of it. Like, they go to a party, she's got this love interest that's also like was involved with her roommate. So yeah, that's something. I honestly don't know who I feel about that. Not a big fan of them, but it's all right. Jesus, they're acting crazy. But yeah, so basically we like start off, she comes, there's this headmistress. They do a really good job, I think, of setting up throughout the season like this doubt that like doubt in everyone, because a lot of the themes of the season are like, who's telling the truth, who can she trust, like it's just all this shady stuff going on, and because she's been being lied to by pretty much everyone around her, it's just a lot of a question of like the morals of this new world that she's joined. And I think they do a good job of setting that up like from the get-go. Like when we first meet the headmistress, like she's like nice, but like not really. She just gives off a weird vibe, you know? So that's one thing. And then also like, hi. She's staring at me like a crazy person. I'm getting so distracted. Okay, so yeah, go to the magic school, yes. So, I just want to talk about the girls real quick. Yeah, they're definitely interesting. Musa is probably my favorite. I think her character is probably the most interesting, like being an empath, feeling other people's pain. And then later in the season, we like see her dealing with this like childhood trauma that she kind of has, which a lot of them have. Oh, I didn't even explain why Bloom is here. Bloom is here because she burned her house down in the other world with her parents, who then we figure out aren't actually her parents because she's a changeling. See, I actually knew what this was beforehand when they said it. I was like, my reading of books has paid off. But a changeling is when you swap a human baby with a like fairy, with the parents being none the wiser because they've like literally just been born. But yeah, so she's that, and she kind of, this is like one of her main conflicts throughout the season, is figuring out how she belongs, if she belongs, like I said, the doubt of this society, and just like her parents. Like it's again, very stereotypical. Surprise, surprise, kids' parents aren't actually her parents, so she is like waking out about it and trying to find her actual parents. And there's like a bunch of misdirects about that, but yeah, so premise definitely interesting. My main, honestly, critique of this show, before I try to like talk more about the plot, which I feel like me talking about it is just sounding like more and more fragmented. I don't even know if I'm making any sense. But my main issue with this, oh my god, stop attacking each other. Stop. This was the wrong place to film this. My main issue, even as someone who didn't watch the Winx Club as a child, I can tell that this is so far from the source material, and it's also so generic, and it's like, you know, it's just got all these, like I said, the tropes, like, it's just a generic teen TV show, and I feel like they could have just easily avoided all of this and just said, we're gonna separate this from, like, it's not the Winx saga. You could have just like made up a different title, changed the characters' names, and you probably would have like changed the color schemes a little bit, and then you probably would have been totally good to go. Because like, even like I said, even as someone who did not watch this TV show as a kid, I can tell that this is so, bless you, so far removed from the original thing, the aesthetics, the everything. So I think honestly, after watching all of this show, they could have just detached it. Like, why? I don't know. Bless you. Oh my gosh. They could have, there's no reason to have this show as a part of the Winx universe, is my point. And I get they're using the name, like, you know, so there's already like an established fan base, but I feel like even that was stupid because all you did is make the established fan base mad for views for your show. Like, that's my main critique, is that it just shouldn't have even been Winx. You could have easily changed the characters' names. They're so unalike to their like original counterparts that it literally would not have been an issue. I don't know why they insisted on doing that. But yeah, let's talk about the plot. So yeah, Bloom's parents are not her parents. No, stop. Surprise, surprise. She's trying to find her real parents. She's getting lied to by like this headmistress and stuff. And meanwhile, we meet this girl, Beatrice. And Beatrice, her actress is so good, let me just say. Like, she's gorgeous, and she, like, really does a good job of making you hate this character. Like, Beatrice is a very cunning person. She's, like, clearly here acting for someone, but we don't know who yet. And she's just, like, totally evil. Like, it's true. She's just totally evil, and she's, like, manipulating all these people, and then, like, so... Bloom finds this lead, like she has this memory implanted in her head where it's like this woman who we assume is the lady that changed her out with the human baby is like, come find me. And so like whole basically episode is dedicated to her trying to find out who this woman is, because now she has a memory of her but she doesn't actually know who it is. So she's looking. She finds a picture at like a party, like I said, the partying. In like the back room, because it was like in the party was in this deserted section of the castle, and she takes a picture of it and she's like, who's this? And we see automatically that, oh my god, why am I forgetting her? Beatrice. We see Beatrice be like, so she knows. We get a little like her actress, you know, you see it on her face for a second that she definitely knows who this is, but she lies. So now Beatrice is keeping tabs on Bloom. She's like, well, you know, we clearly know that this person is of some significance to Beatrice as well. And it's definitely like a clue. So then Beatrice this whole time is like trying to break into the headmistress's, like, she has like a secret thing in her office. They're trying to find something. We don't really know what for a little bit. And she's working with this like assistant guy, who she ends up just like totally killing, by the way. Like, she shoves him into the trap, because the entrance to the secret place is, like, trapped, so she just, like, shoves him in, and then she's like, boop, you're dead. So she kills him, and then Bestie, Bloom's roommate, who I can't remember her name, the water fairy, takes this dude's, like, position as, like, a secretary, and she finds out she can kind of, like, eavesdrop on the headmistress. And so she's doing her thing, she's eavesdropping. She's doing her thing, she's eavesdropping. Now, like, and Bloom's kind of suspicious of the headmistress at this point, because she's like, there's just a lot of conflicting things. Like, the headmistress did not tell her she was a changeling. She's keeping a lot of stuff from her. Bloom's like, okay, we really don't trust this lady. And rightly so. She hasn't told her, like, anything. Which is what I said at the beginning. They do a good job of sowing, like, doubt between these characters. Like, we don't know. Is the headmistress evil? Quite possibly. They're kind of setting it up to be. But yeah, so this is all going on, and mostly, honestly, what Bloom is doing for this entire time is struggling. She's supposed to be, like, super powerful, but she's like, I can't do anything. And she can't for a while, because she's, like I said, she's got some trauma, like other people, like the Musa, because she set her house on fire. So she's like, well, I don't want to lose control, blah, 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 hurt more people. And most of these episodes are dedicated to her, like, trying to find her power and stuff, and then just, like I said, like, partying and drama with Skye and Stella. And it also turns out Stella's a princess, which, okay. And her mom's, like, totally terrible, so she's got some trauma, too. They all do. Trauma party. So, yeah. So, basically, that's what they're doing when all this stuff is happening. And then the plot actually starts to pick up. And there are these things called burned ones. I think they're, like, burned human corpses that are, like, reanimated. Or at least that's what it looks like in the show. But, yeah. So... They are, like, dealing with these burned ones. They're, like, kind of scary. They remind me of, what do they remind me of? It kind of reminds me of the Stranger Things, because they'll, like, play similar music before they show up, or it's, like, the ominous music. And so, first day, this is before all this Beatrice stuff happens. I'm really not telling this in the right order, but I'd assume if you're watching this, you kind of know what's up, or you just don't want to watch the show. Either one. So, one of her first days, Stella's pissed because, Bloom is talking to Skye, and Stella's like, get away from my man. So she gives Bloom this ring, which is like teleporting, and because Bloom's homesick, she's like, and Stella's like, go home, as like a trick. And she can only go home if she goes outside the, like, barrier, which is basically protecting the school from these monsters. So she goes home, but little does she know, a monster follows her there, and that's like our intro to them, and she loses the ring, and that's a whole, like, plot line for a few episodes. Like, they try to track down this burned one and get the ring from it. They do end up eventually, but that's kind of just like your intro to the villains of the series, although there are more than one. So yeah, So then the stuff with Beatrice happens. She's trying to break into the thing. Kid gets killed, and Bestie Bloom's roommate takes over, like, as, like, the headmistress's assistant, and realizes that she can, like, someone leaves, like, a listening device to the headmistress's office, and so she can kind of, like, spy on what's going on, and they get their fears confirmed, where they're like, ah, she is lying to, like, all of us. Again, sowing more distrust in the headmistress. And all this time, Beatrice is, like, still very weirded out by the fact that Bloom has gotten this picture of this woman that she clearly recognized. And so she's trying to get closer to Bloom. They're, like, doing their thing. They skip this assembly that the, like, faculty holds, because the faculty at this point have realized that dude was killed by magic, so they're trying to, like, root out the students. So in order to do this, they, like, do the assembly, whatever, to, like, get everyone there and try to, like, figure out, they have, like, this, like, potion or something to, like, figure out who did it. And so while this is going on, Beatrice skips, Bloom skips. Bloom is gonna look for more evidence of this girl in the abandoned part of the castle where they had the party the first time. And so I forget, Beatrice is, like, kind of having a thing with Skye's roommate this entire time. So they're skipping, Skye comes after them. So it's Skye's roommate, who's kind of a rat, and Beatrice. And they're looking through, like, this thing, and then, what's her face? The boys get in some kind of fight and, like, leave, and so now it's just Beatrice and Bloom, and they're like, there's, like, this door that's locked, and Beatrice is, like, kind of taunting her. She's like, you can break through, let's go. And so they end up doing it, and it's, like, this war map thing, and they somehow figure out this, like, name of this town, and Beatrice is like, I know where that is, let's go. And Bloom's like, now? And Beatrice is like, now. So Beatrice steals a guard's car, and at this point, everyone has pretty much already figured out it's her. Literally, like, they've gotten the car, they've gone, and once they get the news that, like, the car has been stolen, they're like, oh, and then the roommates at the same time figure it out. They're like, ah, Beatrice is definitely responsible for this, because, so they go, and Beatrice shows Bloom this, like, destroyed village, I forget the name of it, and they're like, and she's like, well, the headmistress did this, killed all these people for the sake of, like, killing burned ones, but ended up, like, massacring a village in the process. And so we're all like, oh my gosh, the headmistress is super evil. And Bloom is obviously rightly angry because Beatrice also tells her that her parents are from this village. So she's like, she's getting just stuff thrown at her. She's like, oh, my parents are dead. Oh, the headmistress killed them all. Like, it's just a huge thing. So now she's just getting even more, like, anyway. So then they get caught, Beatrice gets caught, she gets, like, thrown in this prison thing with these, like, torture things on her arms. I don't know what they're called, but they, like, bite into your skin. So yeah, Beatrice is caught, and Bloom is now rightly conflicted. She is back at school, and she's like, you're all literally lying to me. And her roommates are super weirded out. They're like, well, why is she acting like this? Like, what? You know, they're kind of like, because they know Beatrice is no good, so they're like, whatever Bloom is now going on about is probably, like, been put in her head by Beatrice, which is no good, no bueno. So yeah, that's the thing. And, so then, oh God, what even, okay, so Beatrice gives Bloom this thing, and she's like, I know who that lady was. She told her this on the trip. She's like, that lady, I think her name's Rosalind. She's like, I know who she is, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to break her out. The headmistress has her, and the headmistress lied to Bloom, saying she was dead. So this is yet another, like, point against the headmistress. She's just acting very shady and not helping herself in these circumstances at all. But yeah, so Rosalind is alive, and so, what's her face? Beatrice is like, break me out, and we will go get Rosalind. Yeah, go get Rosalind. And so Bestie Bloom goes to, like, this, like, summoning circle where they were learning to use their powers, and is, like, doing the thing, putting magic into this thing that's gonna break her out. And then Skye shows up and is like, what you doing? And she's like, and so he figures it out, and they're having a heart-to-heart, but before they're having this heart-to-heart, Bloom drugs him. She's like, because she knows, she like makes an excuse. She's like, I knew you were gonna stop me if I didn't. And it's like, girl. So yeah, she does that. Yeah, a very interesting choice. And he just like dies after they kiss. Anyway, yeah, they do kiss. That's another thing. So she goes and she frees Beatrice, and I think her roommates are in on it at this point. Yeah, so they figure out what she's doing, and they're like, stop, otherwise we're going to report you. And they take the thing that's supposed to free Beatrice from her, so she hasn't freed Beatrice yet. And then the roommates are like, they kind of, this whole time they've been very against it, very for the school, because a lot of them are from here. A lot of them like aren't as willing to distrust this place as Bloom is. So eventually they realize, they're like, oh, Bloom might be onto something. Like maybe she does need to talk to this lady Rosalind and figure out like who her parents are, etc. So they give her back the thing to free Beatrice, and she does. But they have a plan. Stella's back. Stella left for a little bit because her mom was acting psycho, but then she like was actually there the whole time because she has like light manipulation powers. So she was just like chilling, being invisible. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, so they have a plan. And so they go to the headmistress's office and they're like ready to do it. And Beatrice thinks they're shoving this other person through this trap to trigger it. But instead they just boop, shove Beatrice through. And which means they get rid of her. So, because we don't really trust Beatrice. She's been double crossing everyone. And despite the fact that she's actually given Bloom some answers, she's still like bad news. So we're not a big fan of her. But yeah, so this all happens. They go down there and Rosalind is like speaking to Bloom, and it's just Bloom in there, and she's like, free me, and she teaches her how to do this whole thing, and then they escape, and the other girls are like, oh. And this whole time they're missing someone. They're missing Bloom's roommate, who I can't remember her name. And Bloom's roommate goes to the headmistress and tells her, and everyone is so mad, which, yeah, they probably should be, but so the headmistress and people show up and they're like, where's Bloom? And they're like, well, we don't know. They just escaped. Whatever. So Bloom and Rosalind are doing their thing. Rosalind teaches her this like super big spell against the burned ones. And while this is all happening, burned ones are infiltrating the school. And we later figure out that Rosalind like took down this energy system that like powers the barrier around it. So Rosalind, evil. She let all these, you know, put all these students at risk, whatever. But she thinks it's fine because she teaches Bloom the spell. So yeah, that happens, and Bloom is like, oh shoot, I gotta go back. And so she goes back, and she's like defending the school, and there's this huge thing. She does this transformation, she gets fairy wings, very sick. The first time we've seen wings, literally this entire series, by the way. Kills all the burned ones, great. And so, I don't know, like, that happens. Oh, and what's her face? Musa's boyfriend gets like hurt in this, and she has to like share his pain in order for him to survive, and it's like this huge thing for her. Yeah, so that was interesting, cool, I guess. And yeah, so burned ones are defeated. It seems like happily ever after. Bestie Bloom and the headmistress have a bit of a reconciliation. Bloom's like, okay, I'm still mad at you, and then the headmistress tells her her point of view, and it turns out they didn't massacre all these people. It's just like technicality upon technicality upon technicality, but Rosalind is still out there. So, yeah, Beatrice recruits these two dudes, the one who's Skye's roommate and this other dude who's been causing trouble this whole season, to like, help her and Rosalind. Don't even ask anymore. And yeah, so that happens. What's next? Oh, yeah, so then we kind of just know that they're like kind of going off and doing stuff. And then we cut to Bloom. Bloom goes to visit her parents, and she tells them the truth, and it's actually pretty like emotional and stuff. But the only weird part about this is she shows up to like tell them the truth, right? But she's bringing all 4 of her suite mates with them. So she shows up and she's like, Mom and Dad, I got something to tell you. But before I got something to tell you, come here. And she like, you know, and these 4 girls, which they've never met, just show up, and Bloom is like, is it cool if they crash here this weekend? And the parents are like, yeah? And so they go upstairs, and then Bloom is like just spilling out her entire life story to these parents, and the parents are like, what? What? You're not our kid? And she's like, nope. Ugh. My brain hurts. See, like, it wasn't actually that bad, but explaining it just makes it, like, makes me realize how, like, ridiculous it is. So, yeah, so they have a heart-to-heart, her parents figure it out, but they love her in the end, and then it's like a cute montage. And then we cut back to the school, and we see the headmistress, no, what do we see first? It's either, oh, okay, so we see, love interest, what's his face, Skye, and his, like, this dude who I have not mentioned so far, his name is, like, Silver, that's his last name, who's, like, who killed Skye's father, is what we think. But then, surprise, Skye's father is alive, and the queen shows up with all these guards, and they're like, we're arresting you, Silver, and Skye's like, what? Because his, like, dad that he thought was dead is just standing there, and this dude who's literally raised him his entire life just got arrested. Can you tell I'm losing it? Can you? Okay, so that happens, and then we cut to the headmistress at these graves, right? And so Rosalind shows up behind her, and she's like, oh, also, Rosalind was the previous headmistress, so kind of some tea, like, with those two. So Rosalind shows up, and she's like, hey, why did you bury the burned ones? And the headmistress is like, they were human ones too, whatever, and Rosalind was like, oh, that's cute. But, like, you can tell something's up. Like, she's not just there to comment on that. And so, basically, Rosalind ends up explaining that she is taking over the school. And the headmistress is like, no, it's my school. And Rosalind is like, well, sweetie, you ticked off the queen, who, remember, is Stella's mom. So Stella's mom sent her there to, like, make her magic more powerful, because she's like a ruler, so she needs to be really powerful. Don't ask. And so Stella's mom got mad because, like, Stella wasn't doing as well and blamed it on the headmistress. So Stella's mom has now partnered with Rosalind because she is still mad at the headmistress for, like, not teaching her daughter well enough. I don't know. I really don't know. And so now the queen is helping overthrow the school and put Rosalind in charge as the headmistress, and the headmistress is like, no, like, no, I'm not just gonna give up. And Rosalind is like, I knew you wouldn't, or like, I knew, like, I was afraid of that or something. And she full on, like, levitates her, right? And so headmistress is done for, and you just see her snap her neck, and it's like, what? So headmistress is dead, and Rosalind's the new headmistress. Oh, God. And then our last scene, we see the roommates pulling up back to school in these, like, atrocious but mildly, like, Winx Club color schemed costumes. And they're, like, super excited to be back to school, and they walk in, and Rosalind, the queen, and Skye's dad are just, like, standing there. And they're like, what? And then, like, Rosalind is like, welcome back, ladies. Things are gonna change. And it just, like, cuts. Ugh. So, yeah. That was the Winx, Fate the Winx saga. Ugh. I feel like it was just so cliche. Like, it wasn't bad, but my main critique, like I said earlier, is they literally should have just taken the Winx name away from it. Like, sure, it was, like, kind of terrible, but, like, why? Just why? That's, why? But, yeah, it could have just been a TV show on its own. All the stuff I explained to you, from what I've, like, researched, I'm pretty sure is not a part of the, like, original Winx Club plotline. So it's not like they needed to make it Winx, because it would be similar. So, yeah, that's my slightly chaotic review / plot recap of the Winx Club Netflix adaptation. I'm kind of losing it a little bit. I hope you enjoyed it. If you stayed for this entire video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I left for, like, forever, but I'm going to try to be back and posting regularly, and I really appreciate it if you stuck around. So I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.